So we're gonna start as we always do, having a seat so that we can tune into our bodies this morning. So find that comfortable aligned spine. And that should mean that you feel like you're vertically aligned. Your head is over your heart, which is over your tailbone. And your shoulders are relaxed. No muscles have very much tension, just enough to hold you in this position. So go ahead and close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale to the mouth. Just feel into each and every part of your body. And as you're feeling into muscles, joints, bones, organs, everything, start your deep, slow Ujjayi breath. And as you're continuing your Ujjayi breath, check in with thought patterns, check in with emotions. Notice what your energy feels like this morning. And then let's bring palms together in front of the heart and take a moment to set our personal intentions for the practice. When you're clear about your intention for your practice this morning, take another deep breath in. Exhale through your mouth. All right, so we're gonna go straight into downward facing dog. Plant those hands, spread your fingers out, step your feet back, pedal them a little bit if you need to. Just kind of move your body a little, however that feels good, so you can just ease yourself into your first downward facing dog. Really press the hips up and back. And then when you feel like you're ready, really press your heels down. Start lengthening out the whole back body. Slowly walk your feet forward. Keep your knees bent and just dangle in ragdoll. On your next inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. And exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up, stretch. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and look up halfway. Exhale, back down. Step back with your left foot, so you've got a right foot forward lunge. Just hold your lunge for a moment. And so you know you're always trying to feel into the hips and thighs here in your lunge. The more you can allow the hips to sort of drop down and be heavy, the more you'll start getting into inner thigh separation. All kinds of good stuff happens. Let's go ahead and drop the left knee down, bring the arms up and overhead. Tilt your pelvis back, lift your rib cage, let the hips move forward. Hands down on either side of the right foot. Fully extend your right leg, flex the ankle and toes. Just kind of loosening up the body this morning, getting the legs to wake up and open, a little increase in blood flow. If you maintain your Ujjayi breathing, an increase in oxygen. From here, simply step back to plank position. Hold your plank. We're actually going to hold plank for 3 breaths. I want you to really try and get your shoulders over your wrists, your body in a really nice straight line. Your entire core should be engaged. What happened? Hey guys, I'm sorry. I don't even know how long I was gone. My phone turned off. My apologies. I hope that you're in plank with me. Goodness. All right. Sorry about that. Plank position. And then we're going to modify this first time down. Drop down knees, chest, and chin. Untuck the toes. Lift your chest about halfway, pulling shoulders down the back, heart pulling forward for cobra. And then downward facing dog. Really lengthen in your down dog. And then step forward with your left foot. Hold your lunge. Drop the right knee down. Take the arms up and overhead, pelvis tilts, and you let your hips move forward. Hands come down to either side of the left foot. Fully extend your left leg. Flex your ankle and toes. And then step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And exhale, back down. This time, step back with your right foot. So you have a left foot forward lunge. If you can, just hold your lunge. If you need to, of course, you can drop the right knee down. Otherwise, high lunge with the arms up and overhead. Pelvis is tilting, but you're still trying to let the hips be heavy and sink down. So it's just a deeper front hip opener. And then bring your hands on either side of the left foot, gaze forward, and begin to straighten the leg. It doesn't have to go all the way straight. We're just getting a little deeper into that left hamstring. And then from here, step back to plank. So let's try this again. Hopefully my phone won't shut off on me. Hold your plank. Get your entire core engaged. Shoulders over wrists, body in a nice straight line. You should feel all the muscles in your midsection engaged. That includes low back, sides of the waist, and your abdomen. Drop your knees, even if you normally don't. Shift your weight forward. Your shoulders will be slightly in front of your wrists. Keep the elbows grazing the sides of your torso and lower down and hover. And then untuck your toes. If you're doing upward facing dog, knees and thighs lift off the ground, slight bend in the elbows. Torso is pulling forward for traction and length. And now we move into downward facing dog. Every time we get into our down dog, I want you to try and work it a little deeper. Really push through your palms, spread your fingers, reach that tailbone back. Reach your heels down. And then we're going to step the right foot forward. Again, if you need to drop your left knee, you can. Otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and come on up into a high lunge. Raise the arms overhead, tilt the pelvis back, and see if you can let the pelvis be heavy so your hips are moving down towards the ground. Hands on either side of the right foot, gaze forward. Straighten the right leg as much as you can. Remember, don't change where your hands are or hunching around the back. You're just trying to get a little deeper into your right hamstring. And then from here, we're going to step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. I want you to go ahead and inhale, reach the arms up. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. I'm not mirroring you, so you guys are going to be going that way. And grab your left wrist with your right hand. And I want you to pull on it as much as you comfortably can. You should kind of feel your whole shoulder blade lift. Lots of extra length. When you get that, push really strongly through your left foot. And without arching the back, you're going to lean to your right. We're going to hold this for a few breaths. So we're trying to really get into not only left side of the waist and left rib cage, but also kind of stretching out that left lat. So that's the area under your left armpit. Come on up. Left hand is going to grab right wrist. You're going to pull on that arm enough that you feel your shoulder blade lift. Push through the right foot. Same thing, don't arch the back. You want to just stay really neutral and lean to your left. So now you're stretching out right side of the waist, but also right rib cage. And if you're maintaining pressure on your wrist, you're stretching out your right lat as well. Good. Come on up from that. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Lift the arms a little bit. If your hamstrings are tight, you can bend your knees, but we're going to fold forward here. Relax the neck and really reach those arms up towards the ceiling. On your next inhale, come all the way up, reach the arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold all the way forward, standing forward bend. Inhale, look up halfway. And exhale, back down. You can either walk or jump back to plank position. Holding your plank again. Now you can modify chaturanga, which is what we did a moment ago with the knees down, or you can do a full one, and we're going to try and hold it for a 3 count, and then I'll quit messing with you. But I want you to pay attention to your shoulders. They should be down the back, and your elbows should be by your sides. So on your next exhale, you lower down, you hold, and then you transition into either cobra or upward facing dog and downward facing dog. So in this down dog, what I'd like you to do is take your hands a little wider than they are now. Make sure that your middle finger is parallel to the long sides of your mat. Your hands are spread really wide. Push the hips back. Press the heels down. And just make sure you're not compressing in the neck. So the shoulder blades are kind of pulling down the back and slightly wrapping forward. And then I want you to drop to your knees. We're going to come onto our forearms and prepare for dolphin. So you guys know I'm very particular about this. I would love for you to reach and grab the upper arm on each side with your hands. So your fingers are kind of below your armpits. If you look down, your elbows are only a few inches apart. That's exactly right. That's what I want you to do. Keep your elbows where they are. Interlace your fingers and then press your forearms into the mat. Please don't spread your elbows any wider than that. There's some play between skin and bone, and they'll go a little wider anyway because of that. If they go wider than that, you are at risk for shoulder injury. So with your elbows that distance, the first thing we're going to do is push into the floor
to kind of lift up between the shoulder blades and then relax the neck. Your head should be off the ground here. All we're gonna do is maintain that upper body activation, turn the toes under, push the hips up and back. Now, check in with your shoulders. If you're okay here, what I'd like you to do is push through the forearms a little more, walk your feet forward, tailbone moving up and back, just like we do for down dog. Heels press down, just like we do for down dog. You have to be very active, pressing into the forearms to keep the head off the floor. Maybe take one more step forward. And then come back down to your hands and knees. Come back up on to the hands and get your middle finger right at the edge of the mat now. So maybe even a little wider. That means your ring finger and pinky finger are off the mat. Turn your toes under and do this really wide-handed, wide-armed position in down dog. Press the hips back, press the heels down. Notice how that feels after activating all of your shoulder muscles. And then from here, we're gonna step right foot forward. Left foot's gonna spin flat. Come on up into warrior two. Using our warrior two to continue working with the shoulders, but also get a little hip work. Interlace your fingers behind your back, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Maintain warrior two stance. See if you can fold down the midline to get a little bit of right hip and low back opening, but continue to squeeze shoulder blades together and reach the arms up and overhead. Neck should be relaxed. Come on up from that. Release your arms back out to the sides. Straighten your right leg. Left hand on your left thigh, right arm up and over. It's like a straight leg variation on a reversed warrior, but what I want you to do is really reach through that right arm, get that shoulder blade to lift again. So even though you're getting a side bend here, you're opening up through your right lat. Come on back up, keep the right leg straight. Hips kick to the left, rib cage lengthens to the right, and we come into triangle pose. Bring your left hand down. You can pause for a moment if you want to and stretch out over your right leg. And then hands to the mat, step back to plank. Take a vinyasa, being very mindful of shoulders as you move through chaturanga, if you're doing chaturanga. And of course, you can always modify. If chaturanga is not a good idea for you because of shoulder issues, then by all means, you should be skipping it. And then we're going to take the left foot forward, spin the right heel flat, come on up, warrior two. Just like we did on the other side. Using this opportunity to work the shoulders a little more as we open up, in this case, left hip, left low back. Interlace your fingers behind your back, squeeze your shoulder blades together, fold right down the midline. If you can, you're going to relax your neck, reach the arms up and overhead. Come on back up. Release the arms back out to the sides. Straighten your left leg. Right hand on right thigh, kind of like that reverse warrior, but we're focusing on getting the left lat to open as well as left side of the waist. So it's a variation on a reverse warrior because obviously your left leg is straightened, but that's so that you can focus on the muscle underneath your left armpit. Come on back up, keep the legs straight, kick your hips to the right, lengthen out. Find triangle pose on your left. Bring your right hand down. You can take a little extra breath or two here to stretch out over your left hamstring if you like. And then step back to plank and take another very mindful, precise vinyasa. Drop to your knees again. We're going to come into a second dolphin. So just a reminder, you're on your forearms. Please wrap your hands around the upper arms. Don't use your elbows and don't just brush your hands on your arms. You should actually be able to grab your upper arms. Interlace the fingers, press the forearms into the mat and push up between the shoulder blades. Relax your neck. Turn your toes under. If you feel like you can, walk the feet forward. Push the tailbone up and back, relax your neck. If you feel like you can here, raise your right leg into the air. Right foot down, you're maintaining everything in the upper body, left leg up. So your head is off the floor, shoulders are engaged, elbows are close together. Left foot down. Maybe walk the feet farther forward, push the tailbone up and back, press your heels down. Drop to your knees. Unlace your fingers. Take your hands to the edges of the mat. Again, middle finger literally at the edge of the mat, aligned with it. Other fingers spread out, so your ring and pinky finger are on the floor. Turn your toes under downward facing dog. Very wide upper body down dog. Push your hips back, press your heels down. We're going to take 5 breaths here. I want you to really maximize spinal length and back body opening, but also feel what's going on in your shoulders here. I want you to feel the strength and activation in your shoulders. Walk your feet forward. Big inhale, arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. So we've been doing a lot of front shoulder opening and activating. With dolphin, we're going to make sure that we're not being skewed here. So for our balance pose, we're going to do eagle pose, which will open up the back side of the shoulders. Just a reminder before we get started, if you are balance challenged today, and we all have those days, when you do eagle, you can either have your big toe on the floor, or if you need to, you can have a hip against a wall, but you're going to need both arms, so you're not going to be able to hang on to anything, because the upper body part of this is really important today. So we're going to have our arms in front of us, palms facing down. I want you to take your left arm on top of or over your right arm, so your right arm is underneath, bend your elbows. If you can, palms are touching, fingers are extended. And if your shoulders are too tight, just have the backs of the hands facing each other with your fingers extended. You're going to pull your shoulders down the back and keep them there. Lift the elbows up slightly, press them forward. Now, that's the stretch I want you to maintain. If your balance is really wonky this morning, you could just stay here and breathe. But if you're up for it, we're going to bend the knees. It's so important to do this as a bent knee pose. Take your left thigh tightly over your right. You can slide the big toes down as a kickstand if you need to. Otherwise, chest is lifting, tailbone is dropping, and we're breathing. Unwind yourself. Release the arms. Roll your shoulders back a couple of times. And then we're going to do the other side. We'll start the same way. Hands are in front of you. This time, your right arm is going to cross over on top of your left arm. So your left arm is on bottom. Bend your elbows if you can. Palms are together. If not, backs of the hands are touching. Shoulders pull down the back. Elbows lift and slightly press forward. Pause for a moment and really enjoy this upper back and back of the shoulder stretch. And then if you can, we're going to bend the knees. Make sure you stay in a squatty position. Right thigh over left.
You're squeezing your thighs tightly, dropping the tailbone down and lifting the heart. We'll go ahead and unwind from that, release the arms, and roll your shoulders back. Excellent. Feet together, palms together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and look up halfway, and exhale back down. You can either walk or jump back to plank. Flow through a mindful vinyasa. Now, as you get to your down dog, I want you to just experiment a little bit. Play with where exactly your hands make your shoulders feel the best. So there's a place that you always go in your down dog. We all have that, right? It's just our normal spot. Maybe you want to go a little wider. Maybe you want to go real wide, like I've made you do a couple of times before. Just kind of notice where it feels really good on your shoulders and maintains space in the upper back. And then we're going to drop to the knees. And one more time, I'm going to have you take your hands all the way to the edges of the mat. Your middle finger is aligned literally at the edge of your mat. The other fingers are spread out. Now from your knees, the first thing I want you to do is start to bend the elbows, but squeeze them together. And as you look at your hands, your elbows are narrower or closer together than your wrists. See if you can get those elbows all the way to the ground and lift them back up. Do that 2 more times, really squeezing elbows together. Take them to the ground, lift them back up. Last one. So the good news is I'm not going to make you do full turbo dog push-ups. The better news is we're just going to go straight into turbo dog. What that looks like and what we'll all be doing together here is turn your toes under. Take your tailbone up and back, downward facing dog with a really wide hand position, right? All you're going to do is bend your elbows a little and squeeze them together. Reach them for the mat, but don't let them get all the way there. Keep pushing the tailbone up and back. It should be pretty challenging. And then drop to your knees for a moment. Roll your shoulders back. And come back to the place where it feels best for you for downward facing dog. Move back into down dog. Push the hips up and back. In your downward facing dog, take your right leg straight back. So 3-legged dog, straight leg, just pushing through the palms. Right foot back down. Left leg up, reach. Left leg down. Walk your feet forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. So I want you to roll your wrists, interlace your fingers, roll your wrists a little bit. Roll them back the other way. We're about to go into our peak pose, which really is kind of just for fun. It's a foot grab down dog. So I've got you loosening up your wrists. If you have wrist issues, you might need to do this from a dolphin, which makes it more challenging. But make sure your wrists are happy. Maybe shake them out a little bit. And then we'll get into that, and then we'll do some yummy floor stretches. So here's what I'd like you to do. Take a big inhale, reach the arms up, and as you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway, and then exhale back down. Now, I want you to go ahead and choose that comfortable hand position for your down dog, whether that's wide or narrow or whatever works for you. Might not be where your plank would be, right? We're going to step straight into downward facing dog. Push your tailbone up and back. You're getting a lot of shoulder work just by all these down dogs, right? So here's the deal.
You're gonna take your right leg into the air. Your left foot that is still on the ground, I want your heel to rotate in towards the middle of the mat. Left toes are kind of pointing more towards the left side of the mat. Your whole foot is flat, your left leg is straight. If you feel like you can, you're gonna take your left hand off the mat and grab your right foot. Pull it up towards the ceiling behind you and maybe even look forward. Take 2 more deep, slow breaths. And release. Drop to your knees for a moment. If you need to, shake out your wrists. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Find the hand position that's comfortable for you in your down dog. That means that your shoulders are going to feel most stable there. Turn your toes under, downward facing dog. Now we're taking that left leg up into the air. Your right foot that's on your mat needs to spin in a little bit. Right heel goes in, toes point out slightly. That's going to give you more stability. Right hand is going to reach back for left foot. You pull it up towards the ceiling and maybe you look forward. Bring it back down. Take a much deserved child's pose. Take a couple of breaths. If you're comfortable with traditional Balasana, your hands should face palms up by your feet. That's going to give your wrists and hands a little bit of relaxation here. And then when you're ready, let's move into plank and take our final vinyasa. Be mindful of shoulders. As you get to your down dog, find that perfect spot. We're here for 5 more breaths before we take it to the ground. Spread your fingers, plant your palms, push your hips back, push your heels down. Feel space around the neck and shoulders, feel length in the spine, length in the hamstrings and calves. Or you can either walk or jump your feet forward and have a seat in Dandasana. So coming into staff pose, make sure you're on your sit bones. Just pause for a moment. You can either have your hands right beside your hips to help you maintain a straight spine, or if you can do that comfortably on your own, your hands can be on your thighs. Your legs should be active. Ankles and toes are dorsiflexed. Spine is aligned, head is balanced on top of the spine, and we check in with everything. And then we're going to keep the right leg straight. Bring the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Lean out over your right leg. Lengthen, lengthen. Come on up from that. We're going to pick the left foot up and bring it on top of the right thigh. Keep your left ankle flexed to protect your left knee. Lean out again. Come on up from that. Put your hands right behind you. Lift your chest and bend your right knee. Scooch up a little bit if you need to. So just getting in a quick seated figure 4 to open up that left hip. We don't want to neglect our lower body. So you can stay on the hands, or if you're comfortable with it, you're welcome to grab your right shin, but you've got to keep your spine straight. So you want to lift your chest and pull it forward. And then all we're going to do from here is let the legs drop to the right. So the whole sole of your left foot should be flat, even if your left glute lifts. And then we're just going to twist to the left. So your left hand is behind you. You can either hug the right knee as you twist, or you can bring your right elbow outside of your left knee as you twist.
As you unwind, just bring the soles of the feet together. Hands are going to stay on the ground behind you so that you can maintain that super straight and aligned spine. Knees press out to the sides and then down towards the ground. And then we'll just keep the right knee bent, extend the left leg out, lean out over your left leg. Come on up from that. Pick your right foot up, bring it on top of your left thigh, flex your right ankle, lean out over your left leg again. You want to keep that right ankle flexed to protect your right knee. Come on up, hands behind you, straight spine. Bend your left knee for that seated figure four. Chest is lifting and pressing forward. Hands can stay on the ground, or you're welcome to clasp that left shin and lift the chest even higher. So it's really all about a straight spine. Doesn't matter where your hands are. It's not like you get extra points for grabbing your shin. The idea is to use it for an even deeper and more correctly aligned stretch. And then from here, we're just going to let the legs drop to the left. The entire sole of your right foot should touch the ground. You're going to bring your right hand behind you, straight spine. As you twist and look over your right shoulder. And then as you unwind, yet again, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. This time I want you to slide them way out in front of you. Clasp your ankles and just kind of nestle your rib cage down between your thighs. Pulling up from that, extend your legs out, give them a little wiggle. And then let's go ahead and roll onto our backs. Hug the knees into the chest and rock side to side. We're going to keep the right knee hugged into the chest and extend the left leg all the way out onto the ground. I'd like you to interlace your fingers over your right knee or shin. Really pull it deeply into your torso. And then keeping the fingers interlaced, you're going to start to press your right knee away from you. Your arms are going to straighten. After they straighten, you're going to press a tiny bit more until you feel just a little bit of the upper back and neck lift. Back of the head is still on the ground. If you push so hard that your head comes up, back it up. Back of the head should be supported, but you're pressing enough with that leg that you feel a gentle stretch all across the back side of the shoulders and shoulder blades. Take one more breath here. Next time you exhale, hug that knee back in. And we're just going to transition into a twist. Right arm opens out to the right. You're going to twist yourself to the left and turn your head to the right. Make any modifications that you choose, and then just breathe. One more breath here. And on your next inhale, you'll come back up, and as you exhale, hug the right knee into the chest. Bring the left knee up to meet it. Please feel free to rock, because you know I'm going to. And then keep your left knee
hugged in and extend your right leg all the way out of the ground. Go ahead and interlace your fingers over that left knee or shin. Pull the knee really strongly into your torso. So you really want to get that nice pose of Pavanamuktasana. And then we're going to start to push the knee away from the torso. So your arms straighten, and then you take it just a tiny bit farther. Back of the head stays on the ground, but your upper back and the back of the neck have lifted. If you relax here, what you should feel is a gentle, subtle stretch across the upper back, the space between the shoulder blades. And then on your next exhale, just hug your knee back in and transition this in a twist to the right. Left arm opening up to the left, head turning to the left, and you simply breathe. On your next inhale, coming back up. As you exhale, hug your left knee and bring your right knee up to meet it and rock side to side. So I encourage you to do the inversion of your choice today. Totally up to you. Just a reminder, an inversion is anything that gets your abdominal organs higher than your heart or your heart higher than your head and or both, right? You've actually done a lot of inverting today already. Downward facing dog is an inversion. So is the standing forward bend. But we're going to hold this next inversion for 6 slow, deep breaths. So if you want to do bridge or shoulder stand or plow, it's whatever your body is asking you for today. I'd like you to do that and hold it for 6 slow, deep breaths. Now, as you finish out your 6 breaths, you're just going to slowly come back down, hugging the knees in, and grabbing the outside edges of your feet to do a little happy baby work, just figuring out if there's anything else that needs to be released in your lower half. Couple more breaths, so just finishing up anything you need to do in happy baby. And then as you're ready, you'll place your feet on the mat with your ankles and knees together. We're just going to do those gentle hip rolls. So as you exhale, both knees drop to one side. And this could be a small movement or a full-on twist or anything in between. Inhale the legs back up, and as you exhale, they'll both drop the other way. And I want you to just keep breathing slowly. Coordinate your movements with your beautiful slow breaths. We're going to go a couple more times on each side. And as you finish out and get even at whatever point that is, please take your time with that. Then you're gonna let the knees drop open with the soles of the feet together. We'll take a couple of breaths here, that way everybody can kind of catch up. And then we're gonna lengthen the low back muscles. So we'll do 2 pelvic tilts here in time to the breath. The next time you breathe in, flatten your back, press your low back into the mat. As you exhale, relax, let the curve come back into your spine. One more time, inhale, press the low back into the mat, remove the curve from your lumbar area, and as you exhale, allow it to return. Extend your legs, separate your feet, just wiggle a little bit if you need to. Make sure legs, ankles, feet, thighs, glutes, everything totally relaxed. And then lengthen your spine and pay particular attention to your shoulders. Space between the shoulder blades, space between ears and shoulders. Hands below heart, palms facing up. Neck is long, jaw is relaxed, eyes are closed, forehead is smooth. Take a deep breath in. Exhale through the mouth. Totally relax. Let go. Let go of breath control. Let go of attachments to your thoughts. As you feel everything releasing, bring your attention to the space between your shoulder blades. I want you to think of this as the backside of your energetic heart. Imagine that you can feel that space just kind of melting, softening, opening. Imagine a circular, almost vortex of green light. In other words, it's kind of funnel shaped with the larger opening touching the earth and the smaller opening coming towards the center of your body. And then let that be mirrored going forward. In other words, it's almost like an hourglass shape that's turned sideways with a large end towards your back and a large end towards your front. So feel into the front of your chest, the center of your chest. Imagine you can kind of feel that melting or softening. And you're envisioning the other end of that funnel, that mirror image of that beautiful sort of funnel shape made out of green light. So you have this beautiful, vibrant green light at your heart center, but it opens on both sides, the front and the back. You're lying on your back. This green is the same green of growth in the earth. I want you to imagine that you are drawing energy in through the backside of your energetic heart, through this green funnel. And it's channeled into a smaller area in the center of your heart, and then it explodes back out the front side. We draw in growth opportunities, we draw in love, we draw in strength and stability, everything that we need from the earth, everything that the earth symbolizes, which is pretty amazing.
And it concentrates in our heart center. And we have everything we need. And then the excess is shared with the world. And that's symbolized by this other side of this funnel opening out through the front side of your heart. You're sharing and giving all of these beautiful qualities. And you don't really have to do anything to share them. You simply allow them to flow. Anyone who is in your presence is going to experience these if your heart is open. If you think about these energies coming and going, it sort of is the idea that we give and receive in equal measure. We're receiving through the back side of the heart, giving through the front side of the heart. And giving and receiving in equal measure is balance. Yoga is all about balance. Those are two energies. Giving and receiving are energies. We're balancing the energies. Those energies join in the center of our heart. That joining, that union, that's yoga. Yoga exists in your heart. That's where the union occurs. Not only between these energies, but between all life. We are, in fact, joined to everything. And that's where it happens, center of our heart. So beginning to feel back into your body, your whole body on the mat. Just notice everything. Check in with your mind, that beautiful heart, your energy. Start to bring a little bit of movement back to the fingers and toes. Start to breathe a little deeper. When you're ready, inhale super deep and extend and spread the fingers and toes. Exhale with a soft sigh, relax the fingers and toes. On an exceptionally deep inhale, stretch through the arms and legs, extend arms, legs, fingers, toes, and then exhale with a sigh as you relax all your limbs. Bend your knees, however that works for you. And then roll to your right side. And if you can, stay there for a breath. Just curl up on your right side for a breath. Go ahead and press yourself up into sitting. So as you come to your seated position, just let your shoulders relax. Let your head balance on top of your spine. We're right back where we started in that nice, straight, aligned, and yet relaxed position. We're just going to do a right nostril breath. We're going to inhale and exhale through the right side only. But I'd like for you to do these as really slow, deep breaths. No particular count. You don't have to really focus on anything other than an absolutely full inhale and a really slow, complete exhale, all through the right nostril. So if you would, Use any finger of your right hand to reach across your body and block your left nostril, and then just do some slow, deep breaths in and out the right side. Finish the breath that you're on. Let your right hand rest down and just pause for a few breaths to just check back in. And slowly bring palms of the hands together in front of your beautiful heart. And just take a moment in gratitude. So there's always so much to be grateful for, but perhaps today, in keeping with your yoga practice, perhaps have gratitude for this ability to open the heart and to connect. Gratitude that we can remember who we are and how interconnected we are. Gratitude for this practice that reminds us. Take one more huge breath in through the nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Palms to the forehead, just reminding us to be present. Palms to the lips, reminding us to speak our truth. Palms to the heart, reminding us to keep our hearts open, to stay connected, to be kind, compassionate, and loving. Thank you for joining me this morning. Namaste.